Just when you thought Florida State's season couldn't get any more ridiculous, we were all wrong. Well, at least I was.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into this reaction show of Locked On Seminoles. It's so late at night that I don't even know what day it is, but what a ridiculous way to lose. By the way, hats off to the players for playing hard all the way through, and Kevin Sperry being placed in a very difficult situation and doing pretty well, all things considered. But this is just a microcosm of why Mike Norvell needs to be ousted. I'm not going to waste any time. There's no intro here of any significance. Yes, I say it all the time, so I'm being a complete hypocrite. I know they're probably not going to fire him because of the contract, but fire him. His teams are the most undisciplined, unbelievably awful to watch because they just literally shoot off each one of their toes one at a time, jumping off sides in obvious situations when they're trying to draw you off. It happens every week. Having just dumb penalties on you, pre-snap, post-snap, players in the wrong place, just no coaching. Just none. And still, I'm looking at a few of the stats here on my iPad, and give credit to Tommy Castellanos. He didn't throw it real great tonight. He was a little beat up, obviously, coming into the game off last week. You can tell he's a little hobbled. That dude plays hard. Like that touchdown at the end of the first half, he is a freaky athlete, and you cannot say that he doesn't play hard. Credit to him. Deuce wasn't anywhere near, to be honest, 100%. He still had 4 catches for 98 yards. How talented is Mekhi Danzig? That guy. When that ball from Sperry at the end was thrown up, I'm like, is there a Florida State player down? Oh, there's Mekhi. His athleticism is grotesque, and he's a competitor too. On top of that, just looking at the defense, they play pretty well overall. It's just, and I've said this 100 times, Florida State's lack of timeliness is accentuated over and over again. Penalties in just the worst possible times. Without looking, take a wild guess how many penalties the Noles had. Just take a guess. 13. Stanford only had 293 yards offense. You sign up for that every time. 100 out of 100. The offense obviously shot itself in the foot. Missed field goal. Just little things. Just anything they could do to be wrong. And on top of it, you get the touchdown. That was kind of goofy, where it's called back. Tommy's over the line of scrimmage or whatever. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But here are 3 things that I know. Besides Norvell being fired. That's not on the board because that's just too obvious. This team came into the game, just like I said it would, sleepwalking. 2, if you give a team like Stanford, who has nothing to lose, hope, they're going to grab onto it. They did. And then, ironically, and I thought this was not going to happen, Florida State didn't fold at the end. They played hard at the end. So you sleptwalked at the beginning, and then you kind of got, wait, we might actually lose. And then you played hard later. The penalties and all that, again, I've already went over it. That's number 4, I guess. Just no focus, but again, that's sleepwalking. If you don't respect every team that you play, it's a failure. And Florida State did not respect Stanford at all. I called it every single day this week on Locked On Seminoles, and unfortunately I was correct. The Noles didn't have any interest in that road trip. Pretty obvious. You can't have, again, ready for it, in case you just joined, 13 penalties. What is this, the 1975 Oakland Raiders? Come on, man. This is ridiculous. Florida State is in a complete downward spiral. Complete. And I asked the following, and in all due respect, because again, I firmly believe they played hard at the end. They did. But I asked the following question. I'll look it up and just make sure I get all the dates right here. How many more games will Florida State win, if any? Their remaining schedule, they got a bye week. And then they come back, they will play Wake Forest. Then that's at home. Then they travel to Clemson. I don't know what Klubnik's injury is. For those you don't know, he didn't play today. They lost at home to SMU. Clemson did not look like they wanted to be there. That team is folding too. You got Virginia Tech at home. You go to NC State. You go to Florida. There's not a guaranteed win on the schedule because you don't know from play to play what you're going to get from Florida State. You don't. You don't have any freaking idea what you're going to get from one play to the next. And to be honest with you, I can't say that I'm totally shocked by that, but I was obviously more hopeful that this wouldn't be so bad. But there it is on the screen. For those of you that are curious, Wake Forest is on the first. Then you go to Clemson. You got Virginia Tech. You go to NC State. By the way, that's a Friday night game. That place, the only people sober in that stadium will be the players, trainers, and coaches. And then you go to the Swamp. I don't think Florida State there. The chances of Florida State going to a bowl at this point are pretty limited. At some point, and maybe I'm wrong, because again, they played hard until the end. They just couldn't execute at all. The lack of focus, especially early on in the game. Holy moly. This team is close to checking out, but then they kind of revitalize themselves. It's very odd. Usually it works in reverse, where you come out firing, if it doesn't work, you fall off. They did the opposite. Of course, this team is just bizarre in general, but I digress, and it is what it is. So hopefully Florida State can turn it back on and all of that. But let me talk about the one thing that I liked besides the, the effort at the end. Obviously, Tommy took a complete cheap shot, and I hope he's okay. I should have led with that, and my apologies that I did not. Kevin Sperry is going to be a very good football player at Florida State. They decided, we got the freshman, and we're just going to blitz him. He got hit a few times, etc. He still made a couple good throws, made a nice run to the sideline, did all the little things they asked him to do. For that circumstance, you cannot blame anything with Kevin Sperry. That young man's got some moxie. Hats off to him. Hats off to the receivers and everybody else blocking for him and all that to get that ball down there. I thought Sawchuk scored, but I understand the rule, and there, because of the way the people were falling down, there was no angle down the line they could see anything. By rule, they probably ruled that correctly because it was ruled down on the original call. If they'd have ruled it a touchdown, it would have stayed. That's my guess. But college officiating is so bad. I don't, especially with targeting in college football in general. I'm not talking about Tommy's play, but this team, I give them credit for the end. They kind of deserve to get the touchdown because of how hard they played at the end, but they should have never been in that spot anyway. For the record, I picked Florida State to win this game 41-20. I got the 20 right. Florida State needs to give me 4 more touchdowns. 13 points against a team that gives a 30.2. As I noted, the number one thing here for the whole game, Florida State's players, I'm not talking about coaches, this is a player problem here, did not want to be there. Part of that, I think a lot of them were done, in my opinion, and we'll talk about this more a little bit Sunday and then on the Monday show, or I might even do a Sunday night live show. I'm so loopy right now, I can't comprehend it enough right now. It's 2-something in the morning Eastern time, but there is no way this team wants to play for Norvell anymore. No chance. No chance. When I come back, I want you to think about this. If you're a Florida State player, what is there to play for? What is there to play for? Are you really bought into being at Florida State if they get rid of Norvell? I'm going to jump into that. I'll go into the game more on Sunday show and Monday show. Again, I'm too loopy to do really specific stats and all that stuff. But the big box stuff, I was steadfast on that anyway. We come back, we're going to talk about it right here on Locked On Seminoles. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at DoorDash. The weekends here in Florida State has choked again, despite the fact that they should have won by 2 or 3 touchdowns. And DoorDash wants me to talk about it in a positive light, but there's nothing positive here. You can win every Saturday with DoorDash. Don't expect the Noles to win every Saturday because they find a way to screw it up. DoorDash is going to help you save every time you order, and these players did deliver for Florida State despite the loss. Already talked about Tommy Castellanos. He played really, really hard. Give him credit. The incredible interception that came earlier in the game, Earl Little Jr., that was a great play. Give credit to those guys. Kevin Sperry at the end, Mekhi Danzy, Deuce Robinson, all of them played hard. But Florida State is not a very smart football team. And just like all those players from Florida State came out and played hard, DoorDash delivers for your Saturdays. You can save up to $250. DoorDash, terms apply, promo code is good through November 18th. And we are also brought to you by our friends over at SupplyHouse. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with SupplyHouse. Order today and see parts tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Real-time inventory, honest lead times, keeps you in loop. And their industry-leading customer service is going to keep you rolling as well. If you need something next day, they can make it happen. They've got the metrics for you to find every tool, everything that you need right there on their site. Join the free Trade Master program today. Get serious perks. Visit supplyhouse.com. Sign up for free SH College 5 for 5% off. Supplyhouse.com. Check it out today. Real people and real services. All right, let's get into the main point here. Let's just shoot it. How many players out of the, 105s technically on the roster? How many after this game, the way they lost too at the 1-inch line, are really going to be bought in for the rest of the season? Again, you got Wake Forest, then you go to Clemson, you got Virginia Tech, at NC State on a Friday night, at the Gators. This team is 3-4. They have lost 9 games in a row in the ACC. And Mike Norvell is 1-11 in his last 12 in the ACC. How many guys are really going to be bought in? 5, 10, 15, 20. What's your number? I'm honestly not sure where I would go, but I think tonight we'll take a chunk. At some point, you're just getting your head beat in. Again, they played hard until the end. I'm not saying they didn't, but how many does that come down from? I don't know. It'll be some. I'd guess 5 or 10 more guys are probably thinking on the plane ride home back to the state of Florida, you know what? I'm probably going to at least entertain going into the transfer portal. That would be my strong guess. As many of you know, I also operate Locked On the Portal here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Obviously, talks about the transfer portal, recruiting, and NIL. That is my main thing. That is my bag. And these are the kinds of situations from talking to 7-on-7 coaches, trainers, etc. When kids go through this kind of stuff, they start contacting those guys they came up through the high school ranks with. Even before that, even when they were in 7th, 8th grade, these same people, hey, can you find someplace for me? When Penn State got rid of James Franklin, I got a message from a Penn State player almost immediately. Shocker? No. When it's over or close, the messages start going out. I'm concerned because while they got to get rid of Norvell, that's not any news flash. What will the next staff have? In this era, it's really dicey. But at the same time, you may have to do, as painful as it is for me to say this, because I'd have to cover it, a slow rebuild where the roster gets gutted. Who knows? If they can convince them to stay, great. But today's era, I have no clue if that's going to happen. So anyway, I'm just going to jump into the chat. There's a gazillion different posts in here. I'm going to miss 98% of them. My apologies to those of you that I do not bring up, but I'll hit a few. Let's see. This one's kind of interesting. Fear the Spear 352. The last 2 games officiating have been atrocious. That's not wrong. Last week we lose either way. This game was clear manipulation. It was pretty bad. I'm glad they did throw the kid out for targeting. And to be honest, as undisciplined as Florida State's players are, I'm surprised one of them didn't deck that kid and get tossed out of the game too. But that was a terrible cheap shot. Let's see. If Sperry starts the game, we win easily. Well, he might be starting for a while because I have a feeling Tommy's concussed. This is a good point right here. Gregory Moran 2547 says, playing hard was not enough. Got to have a plan and you got to execute. Gregory, you are not wrong. Oh, let's see. Oh, this is funny. Eric Morse. Norvell has to go tonight. Leave him on the tarmac, man. Leave Norvell on the tarmac. I don't know what you do because it's the contract. Florida State is in a terrible spot. It's so bad. Raul Santiago can't recruit. No development. No discipline. Failure on the coaches. This program is broken. Host of the day. 100%. 100%. Raul, you get post of the day. I might actually talk about that in some capacity on the Sunday show because it's deserving. Oh, this is great. Hayden Franklin, and I quote, "Do not let Norvell back on the plane." That's harsh, but it's hilarious. I like that. Oh, man. Noel Nation 1993. Florida State will not win a game. Does not matter. Play to win. Yeah, they may not win another game. It's not out of the question. Not likely, but it's not out of the question. Oh, man, this is so bad. Here's a good one. Joey Tran, 6'5", Stanford was playing second string, quarterback, running back, lineman. But Florida State new freshman quarterback gave Noel some sparks, though. Yeah, that's true. Stanford's pretty beat up, too, and Florida State couldn't score on that. That's the other reason I know Florida State wasn't bought in. For those of you who don't know, I talked about it this week on Locked On Seminoles. They were allowing 30.2 points per game. And they had 3 guys out in the secondary. They were giving up over 300 yards a game through the air. And Florida State scored 13 points. This is a good statement. Keith, you can't start playing in the fourth quarter. Amen to that. I think Florida State should have punted at midfield personally, but that's just me. This is a good one too. NA_K. Woo, that was 2 trash teams playing for the bottom rung of college football. How do you lose to Stanford? An awful Stanford team. I don't know, man. It's pretty bad, man. Jeez. Oh, man. Ty says, I told you Stanford was going to win. I'll only get worse as long as Norvell is here. Yeah, well, that's probably true. K-Woo. I hate when they play hard at the end. They should have done it earlier. Embarrassing. I hate to say it. I'm a Florida State fan. Shaking my head. Yeah, there's nothing about that post that's wrong either. You guys are pretty smart. Let's see. Brian, you sure Sperry will be good at Florida State? Not 100% sure he stays. All the good quarterbacks at Florida State under Mike have left. The kid at Illinois, etc. You're not wrong about that either. This is also a good point right here. This is kind of overall, not just Stanford, but it's a microcosm. L Proof. There's absolutely zero chemistry at every level. That includes the players and the coaches. How can I argue with that? SS Gang 777, Norvell was breaking all kinds of negative records. Also true, because he is terrible. If you take nothing else from this podcast, newsflash, Mike Norvell sucks. Yes, indeed. He is atrocious. God, he's terrible. I'll do one more here. Oh, Surfer's in the house. What do you know? What's going on, Surfer? Players need to give back their NIL stipend to tuition. Oh, it's pretty bad, bro. It's pretty bad. Let's see here. Sneaky Turtle, 1122. Well, Brian, wish I could talk, but if we play like we did Friday, Stanford could beat us too. Yeah, Miami didn't play with any urgency against Louisville, and they got outcoached. But you got to have that. It's the same thing, though, man. It's the same thing. Neither team came in focused. That's why they lost. Weak to blame the refs. Go Jackets. Refs killed us, and no excuses. Georgia Tech got completely outplayed and still found a way to win. At least y'all actually lost to a good team and head coach. Florida State lost to a bad Stanford team that has a head coach that doesn't even want to be there or wants to be the permanent head coach. That is also a true statement. All right. I'm just going to make a couple more general comments here, and I'll wrap it up. Number one, somebody just said, Brian, any chance you see Norvell turns this around? No! He's terrible. Hell no. Hell no. He stinks. There's no way. My Norvell's not turning around. It's over. No chance in the world. This is the slow death march of Florida State football right now. In live time at freaking 2:44 Eastern time in the morning. I'm podcasting. This is crazy. Two things beyond the fact I will post Sunday later in the day. Need to actually sleep. There's a good idea. And then Monday show, I'll do something, just kind of basic stats, kind of where Florida State is as a program. And I'll probably do a live show Monday night on top of that. Give people time to digest. They can talk about what I'm going to let the people like they are right now. Monday night's live show will really just be me asking questions and just then answering who comes into the chat. That's what that's going to be. I mean, it's unbelievable. Florida State is 1-11 in its last 12 ACC games. 1-11. How is that possible? Unbelievable. Mike Norvell should turn in the money and move to Canada, where they've got the worst government ever. God, he stinks. He's so bad. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you for those of you that are up that wanted to come into the chat and vent. Mentally, I can't take any more of this garbage. I'm going to put up a YouTube short here in a minute just for entertainment as well, if you want to check that out. But this show, if you want to watch it again, it'll be on the live tab of YouTube. It'll be up on audio, and it'll be up on the main page of YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all those places. Tomorrow, I will have another show. I don't know how long, because it just depends on my mood and how I want to analyze this, because this was a weird game, by the way. It was a really weird game. Quarterback injuries to both teams. How often does that? Like, there was nothing normal about this game. A Hail Mary that hit, untimed downs. Like, this is a weird game, but it's a microcosm of Florida State football. There's nothing normal about it either. So we'll get back to a normal schedule on Monday, post every day. And for those of you who don't know, 3 a.m. for audio, 5 a.m. is YouTube. And if there's a emergency podcast tomorrow because Norvell gets fired, would it shock me? No. But I still think it'll be a while because his contract's too big. I hope I am dead wrong. So with that, thank you very much for those of you tuned in. Truly appreciate you coming out Locked On Seminoles. If you have not already, become an everydayer, like and subscribe. And if you're on Apple, please hit that automatic download. This has been Locked On Seminoles.